I had to take Ellie to the doctor appointment.
So all is well.
Yeah, it was allergy shots.
Got it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Mayor Tyler Moore Show here on the Kokomo Post. My name is Drew Larison. This is MTM. Mr. Mayor, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. How are things here at the Post?
So good, because this show is partnered with Robert Miller and Son
That it
Furniture
is.
here in Kokomo. The clock is ticking. Do you hear it?
I do hear it.
You hear that? Yeah, well, that's the clock, and the clock is ticking, and so are the savings, because Robert Miller and Son, happy birthday. 70
years
anniversary, 70th anniversary sale is almost over. Right now, take 30% off everything in the store. Sofas, sectionals, recliners, mattresses, and more. For 70 years, we've been serving Kokomo with comfort and quality you can trust. Now it's your last chance to celebrate with us and save big. Don't wait. The anniversary sale ends soon. Shop Robert Miller and Son today before it's gone. 70 years. I've been asking this every week. If you're watching live, which some of you are, wish Robert Miller and Son a happy birthday in the chat.
Very cool.
Little fun emojis.
Absolutely.
70 years. It's crazy. Mr. Mayor, how was your weekend?
Oh, great. We snuck away up to Chicago to visit my son. He's had moved into a new apartment over the summer and hadn't been up to check it out yet. And so it's kind of the calm before the storm, because my daughter's getting married this coming weekend, which we'll have to look at next week's show, because I'll still be on my way back from Michigan next Monday. But yeah, so we snuck away and spent the weekend there. It was beautiful up there. Drove through all of the rain that eventually worked its way to Kokomo mid-morning, early afternoon. At that point, put a little bit of a damper on the 9/11 memorial climb that the Kokomo Fire Department puts on, but wasn't enough to dampen the spirits. Still had a good turnout to raise some much-needed funds for the Marty Myers Scholarship, the Shop with a Cop, and Carl Kuntz Memorial Scholarship as well. Those three law enforcement or first responders here in our community that are doing great things.
Love that. And we did the CrossFit workout. Got done right before then. Dear me, man, that was.
I bet
that workout every year gets me. Did you?
Yeah, they were doing, posted a little video, and you were hard at it.
Yeah, and like the workout, it's 9 movements, 11 reps, but the tough part about that is the cash in or the buy in is what you do before you do the 9 movements. Was a 2,000 meter run. So it's 5 laps around the stadium. And then the cash out, which is what you do after you do all the movements, is another 2,000 meter run or bike. And I thought the bike was another 2,000 meters. I'm like, all right, I can do that on a bike. To make it equal to the run, it was actually a 4,000 meter bike. And I didn't learn that until I was 1.4 meters in, and I thought I was almost done. And then I realized, oh wait, I'm not even halfway through. But yeah, great weather.
Perfect.
Always cool to do workouts like that for a good cause down at the stadium. Shout out to everybody who helped out. They had the strongman competition this year.
Yeah, I did that.
Bonkers.
Had the guy, I think at Station 1 on Friday afternoon to do a little bit. And
well, they did some in front of the stadium. I mean, it was just
on Saturday.
I don't even know. Like, they weren't lifting weights. Like it's just like they walk around in a scavenge yard, and like that looks heavy. Can they lift that 70 times in a minute?
You know, that's what it is.
It's insane.
I bet you can't lift that.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
You want to bet? Throw it in a truck, and then that's what you use for strongman competitions. But that was really fun. Really great event. The kids came and they got to watch it all happen, which is great. So love that. What's going on at City Hall this week?
Just a little bit of early fall cleaning and getting things done. I know that Parks Department is celebrating the opening of the splash pad, so excited that folks got to enjoy that over the weekend, and will continue as the temperatures stay up. But yeah, saw some of our trucks out picking up some limbs and brush that had been set up for a little late summer cleaning that folks have been doing. I mean, typically we don't do a dedicated limb and leaf pickup till October, November, as we continue to get some paving done. But saw a handful of crews going through some of the areas. So again, folks, try to hold off on that until October, November, as we continue to pave and do other things that the Street and Refuse Department are doing. But be happy to pick those up if it creates a safety hazard and such, which it may have in those areas that they were cleaning today. But yeah, outside of that, just business as usual. as we work our way towards the last quarter.
Q4, baby.
Q4, baby.
Finish the race as best as we can.
Right.
Love that. Okay, so we have some pre-show questions as always. I see there's 22 people watching the live right now. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon.
If you have any questions for the mayor, for the Ask the Mayor segment, which we're about to start here in a minute, just leave them in the chat below. That's why I always have my laptop here to where I'll pull them over to my notes, but we do have a little over 20 pre-show questions to get through first. So thank you for watching live. Let's get into today's questions. The first one is from Alec on Facebook. Hey. What is the debt limit of the city of Kokomo and how close are we to it? Follow up, what are we paying for with all of those bonds? Alec on Facebook. Getting economical.
I probably should have looked at some of those comments to try to get some information. I don't know the exact debt limit now. I mean, a lot of the bonds, I know we just finished paying off the bond with the YMCA. Some of the others are developer bonds that are tied to TIF specific areas with those projects. Didn't take one out for the new fire station, doing cash with that one. I'm trying to think. That's a good question. I'd have to get an update because obviously, some get paid off or expire by the time we get a new one set up. But unfortunately, I can't answer that, but I can get that information together. I've got a few folks listening in, so they could probably text later, but we'll try and get those numbers and report back. I know it won't be on Monday, but if we have a show at some point next week, I'll try and get that specific information, where are we at on debt load and where are the handful of bonds currently lie. A lot of the bonds currently are tied to development projects.
Yeah. So. And I was up at City Hall last week with Bree. We're talking maybe some holiday things we want to do with the city. And I learned everybody on the third floor watches this show when it's live. Cool. So hello, third floor.
Hello, third floor.
It's good to see you guys. Yeah. And I did some quick ChatGPTing, some AI tools, because there's probably people watching. And Alec, you're making us stretch our brains a little bit today. But like the difference between like debt and bonds, like I asked ChatGPT, explain it to me like I'm a fifth grader. Sure. Like how like municipal debt compared to municipal bonds, like how do they work? This is what they said. Municipal debt, this is just the total amount of money the town owes because it has borrowed money before. It's like if you borrowed $20 from your parents to buy lemons and sugar, that $20 is debt. Municipal bonds, a bond is one way the town can borrow money. It's like your town says to the people, hey, if you give us $10 now, we'll pay you back with a little bit of extra as a thank you. That little piece of paper or promise is called a bond. So the difference is debt equals whole amount of money the town owns, like your Lemonade, like your Lemonade IOU pile. And a bond is one of the IOUs they gave out to borrow the money in the first place.
Yeah, so
like a fifth grader.
Like when I say site-specific TIF, where there's development bonds tied to that, so it's money that's guaranteed against the project. So as those developers, as that tax increment, as the property value increases and the assessments then increase, which then in turn equates to increased property taxes, that increase or that increment that the developer pays to the city by way of the county goes back to make payments on those bonds. I mean, so a lot of folks are like, oh, specific tips. There's incentives tied to that, but a lot of that they're paying themselves. I mean, so the city's cooperating or assisting in establishing those bonds and approving those, but is, like you said, signing a piece of paper to allow that relationship to occur.
Love it.
So,
well, there you go.
Good. Thanks,
Jeff. Little economic lesson there. Next question is from Mike on Facebook. This is for Mayor Moore.
Hey.
Which would make sense. This is the Ask the Mayor segment. Will you openly tell the Republican lawmakers and the rest of the Republican Party in Indiana that they have hurt municipalities and the average taxpayer with SB 1? Maybe explain to them how you now support a $10 trash fee directly due to this bill. All we see on Facebook is how you support the party, but the current state lawmakers are in fact a financial burden on your constituents. Mike on Facebook.
We've done that. I went down at least twice to the State House during the legislative session and locked arms with other mayors from both parties, and met with our legislators, testified in front of committees, followed up with a series of emails to members of those committees, just as reminders, because I didn't wasn't given enough time for my entire testimony. So we did that during the legislative session. Since that time, by way of our state association, the Accelerate Indiana Municipalities, we have collectively, as mayors and even city councils and members of those that organization, sent emails, had meetings with. I mean, so there's been ongoing conversation with our state lawmakers, both Republican and Democrat alike, but specifically those that helped craft what SB1 or SE1 ended up being. So we've done just that, and even though, yes, I've supported, candidates or legislators, that are of the same party and such. Those same legislators and others have heard our concerns, not just from Kokomo, but again from municipalities collectively, how SB1 is creating challenges here in the next 2-3 years for municipalities.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And there was a comment, like a reply to this comment, saying just that. Alexandra said, Mayor Moore actually went down to the State House and spoke against SB1, which I find admirable. Just an FYI for people to know. Also, local mayors don't really get any vote on Senate bills. They just get to go to the public comment hearing, just as you and I can. But again, he did not support it. Our state level elected officials did. So Alexandra had that comment as well.
And fortunately, I mean, what the governor originally proposed or was trying to push through did get watered down. I mean, it left the Senate, it went to the House, and the House watered it down, and then it went back to the Senate for final reading, and it got what I mean. So either fortunately or unfortunately, I know I got called out for saying that. I mean, that it did end up not being as strict or as restrictive or as extreme, as it was originally proposed, but it still presents challenges. Yeah. So I think so.
Next question is from Vicky on Facebook. Hey. Why aren't suggestions for new revenue streams at the recent city council meeting being discussed and table the proposed $10 fee? Vicky on Facebook.
Trying to think what those were. I know there was a gentleman that came up and talked about just charging for large items, or charging for curbside, or charging for limbs like other communities do. Part of the reason that folks are saying, we don't need a $10 trash fee just because other communities, this is Kokomo. I mean, so we shouldn't have that just because other communities. So that's kind of the same way. I mean, it's, we've looked into that, and, for the amount that would be charged for large items still doesn't achieve the means that we have. But I'm trying to think what other cost-saving measures were proposed at the council meeting. I had a few written down, but I mean, what's a lot of folks, have heard and said, that it passed, at the first reading, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, there's 2 readings, so there's still a second reading to be had on September 29th. And so, yes, we continue to have those discussions. I mean, there's other revenue sources. I mean, there's the imposition of an additional wheel tax that we already pay, through our county taxes. There's a food and beverage that we need permission from the state legislator in order to consider. I mean, so the timing or support or possibility of that is sometimes was a question. So we've looked at those additional opportunities, leading up to that, and now we're always open if any of the council members, I mean, because it was brought back before the council, if any of the council members are saying that there needs to be community input, or we need to have discussion, if there's other suggestions or such. I mean, the council, now has that opportunity or power. And so if any of the council members, have suggestions or if they need to have that conversation with us, and that we're always open to, that we had prior to it, the first reading. But I'd have to go back through the notes or from that meeting to see what other ones might have been proposed that were either not considered or not feasible to achieve the means with which we're trying to meet.
Sure.
So,
got it. Okay. Next question is from Alexandra on Facebook. If the new trash fee isn't passed, what is the alternative? Where will funding be cut? And what does that mean in terms of tangible effects to residents? Alexandra on Facebook.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of that, I mean, it would mean that we would have to look at either the equipment that the employees are saying we need to start replacing for safety reasons and such, could lead to layoffs of some of our employees if we need to cut back on services, whether that's, the limb and leaf pickup, which is additional. That's not state mandated. The limbs and leaves aren't considered trash. And so, I mean, there's the possibility of suspending that. Curbside recycling is only between $200,000 and $300,000, so it's not as cost effective as others. I mean, but that's a possibility. There's also the possibility of looking, so that we can keep some of our staff to focus on street maintenance and equipment and such, that to privatize trash collection like other communities have. But looking at that, we didn't get hard estimates because folks said, why didn't you get some quotes from some of the locals? I mean, we had conversations with a few, and and what a private trash collecting company would charge residents like they do for folks that live outside of the city limits. I mean, you're talking between $20 and $30 a month for trash pickup, which, again, we figure if somebody's going to charge the citizens for trash pickup, that what we're continuing to provide, not only with trash, but the additional curbside recycling, as well as large items and limbs and leaves, I mean, are all part of what folks are paying into. That some of those would be cut as a part of that. And then obviously with that additional loss of revenue that could help offset costs and expenses in the general budget. I mean, you could look at how that would affect, the equipment and manpower and wastewater treatment plants, or even the police and fire. So there would be adjustments. I mean, that's part of the reason why the budget is also kind of coinciding with the timeline of the trash fee. Because the budget then has a third meeting, if you will, because the public hearing for the budget is the next meeting as well, that we would have to do that adjustment before the final reading of the budget itself. So, additional cuts either to personnel, equipment, or services would end up being considered.
Got it. Next question is from Lillian on Facebook. Be honest.
Okay. I usually try to be.
How much influence do you or your administration have on the way city council members vote on any given business matter? Because I can think of 3 very recent matters that their vote did not reflect the best interests of the residents of the city. Lillian on Facebook.
Well, I mean, so ultimately, all 9 council members are their own individuals, and so they vote their conscience and vote how they feel best. Now, a lot of times, those decisions fall in line with what we're proposing from the administration anyhow, and so it appears that we being the administration, has a lot of influence on the council, but a lot of that is because we've had conversations with a handful of the council members, and they, agree with what is being proposed or the way the city may be going. But for things to pass that aren't necessarily in the best interest of the residents or against what the residents want, unfortunately, we don't have all 59,000 or so residents weigh in on a particular item. I mean, typically what they hear from, whether it's an email or those that show up at the city council meetings themselves, whether they speak or not, is a small percentage of the overall population. And although some may feel like in this trash fee, they may not agree to, don't want to pay an additional $10, but they're like, yeah, I'd rather not pay it, but I get it. I understand it. I lived in the county and moved in, and this is going to be, I had to pay, $30 a month, for trash, but, we understand that, there's going to be challenges. There's those that have followed, what's come out of the legislature, and they understand, the financial challenges that the city faces. And they're like, yeah, I don't like the $10, but I get it. I think they take a lot of things into consideration, but then also have to take into consideration that more times than not, the only people that show up at the meetings or reach out in emails are those that are against what may be happening, as opposed to the others. I know one of the councilmen threw a Facebook post out, taking an online poll, and I think he got under 30 responses. So even going to social media or to Facebook, where there's still, a handful of folks that either understand or are fine, or that are against and don't. So to say what's actually happening is against what all the residents want or does not benefit all of the residents is sometimes not, in fact, truthful. So
got it. Yeah, it's a hard job to be a city council person or member, because yes, you do have a responsibility of listening to your constituents. That's how the structure of government works in the city, right? They each have their own areas, or there's some at large as well that like the whole city, and it is their jobs to take phone calls, emails, texts from people that are reaching out to them. But it's also their job to make sure like they got elected for a reason, that people thought they would make the best decisions for the city as a whole too. So they have to do both of those things,
right.
And if they truly believe, whether it's this vote or not, whatever it is they are voting into place is the best for the city, and their constituents don't believe that same thing, there's also the role of the council member to like help educate and, sway even their constituents, like, no, this is the right decision. So it's a hard seat to be in. I have empathy for.
And not everybody goes. That's one of those things they say, okay, if you don't like what's going on, get involved, try to, not necessarily show up at the meetings, but find ways to get on committees or on commissions or even run for council. Yeah. But unfortunately, with all that, the council members and our administration that name the topic, whatever it may be. Even Chick-fil-A. You look at Chick-fil-A. A lot of good folks that want to make a difference in their community and would love to serve in that capacity, don't, because of setting themselves out there and setting it up for criticism. You're not going to be able to make everybody happy, unfortunately, but they do the best they can to try and do what's best for the community as a whole. And, yes, this trash fee is as unpopular as it is, still has those that understand it and are like, okay, we're fine with it because we know that it's going to fund additional services. It's going to give more livable wages. Everybody talks about making sure people in across every industry is making a livable wage. We're hearing from our employees that it's borderline if they're making a livable wage, and so we want to be able to pay them more. And part of that is to bring in to put things in place now to bring in more revenue in order to secure that while still servicing the needs of the department and the needs and level of services that the community expects. So it is. It's tough and it's not fun, and
it's leadership, man. It's
envious.
Yep. Next question is from Hannah. SB1 cut funding to Howard County, which is part of why we're now facing this trash tax. Okay. Knowing how this decision is affecting Kokomo residents, do you feel that supporting SB1 was the right call, or do you have any regrets about that vote? More cuts are coming. Also, I heard something about a food and beverage tax. It's not expensive enough to eat out already. Hannah on Facebook.
Sure. Well, and saying that is there any regret to voting in support of SB1? We didn't vote for it.
That's not a vote. Yeah.
Yeah, that was at the state level, and we just mentioned here, I was down and testifying at committee against it, and trying to work with legislators to find different ways, or to look at it to get it in a better form than what was passed. So yeah, I mean, there may be a handful of legislators that regret not doing more, at the state level to see how it's now affecting or going to affect the municipalities. But yeah, I mean, as part of that, municipalities, schools, township trustees, everybody's looking for other ways to plan for and prepare for tax revenue shortfalls, whether it be property tax itself or business personal property tax, which is where we're really going to get socked in the teeth with what SB1 did with business personal property taxes, not just the property tax. Yeah, the food and beverage tax, we've been talking about that, and again, communities all over the state have taken, and a lot of those communities are college towns, or that areas that have amenities, that are entertainment hubs and such. And so we've looked at that possibility, but again, that's something that the state legislature, that's one tool that the state legislature has to pass a law permitting a particular community the opportunity and right to consider imposing it. It doesn't mean it automatically passes. It just says, okay, Kokomo, Howard County, if you want, you now have permission from the state in order to consider that particular tax on food and beverage, but others are not. And so, yeah, I mean, I think you're going to see municipalities across the state, look at what tools are available and find ways to make up for the additional shortfalls that will not be experienced.
Gotcha.
So.
Before we move on, let's give out our friends over at Metronet a shout out. Attention, internet lovers, which if you're watching this live podcast,
they are.
You probably love the internet. At Metronet, we are all in. The price you see is the price you pay. Get 1 gig internet for just $70 a month. Wow. Plus, sign up today and get free installation. No extra fees, no rising costs, no annual contracts, just fast, reliable, 100% fiber internet. That's blazing speed for streaming, gaming, and working from home on multiple devices with no buffering. But hurry, this limited time offer will not last forever. Nope. Go to Metronet.com and make the switch to 100% fiber today. Get Metronet and love your internet. Terms and conditions apply.
Love it.
Next question is from Mickey on Facebook. I see so many apartment complexes are going up. Is there a lack of housing currently, or is Kokomo expected to grow tremendously over the next few years? Not being rude, I'm just curious. Mickey on Facebook.
So yes and yes. So a housing study that was done before the battery plant was even announced showed that there was a housing shortage in Kokomo and Howard County and a lot of places throughout the state. But then with the announcement of the battery plant, that kind of exasperated the situation. And so, yes, the developments that you're seeing being started are in response to that and are in expectation of not only what we hope will continue to show up out in the battery plant and its suppliers, but with what we have now. I mean, there's between 4,000 and 5,000 individuals that work in Kokomo and Howard County but live elsewhere, and part of that could be due to the lack of affordable housing. And affordable housing doesn't mean subsidized. Affordable housing just means something that you and I can afford. And so, we're working on that to try and get folks that work in Kokomo to stay in Kokomo. Because again, going back to the tax situation, income tax, even though we've got all these jobs at the Stellantis plants and hospitals and stuff, people that work in Kokomo, if they live outside of the county, they take that income tax with them. So even though they're working in Kokomo and Howard County, the tax that they pay on their income goes back to the county within which they live. So as we continue to develop, here and make housing available, that's the hope and desire is that with that availability, one, it will encourage folks to live here that are working here, but two, it'll increase the supply, which will level out or hopefully reduce, some of these rising rent costs that have been experienced because of the lack of housing. So kind of threefold.
Sure. Okay, starting to get some live chat questions in there. Love to see it. Next question is from Renee on Facebook. Hey. There are streetlights in my new neighborhood that are in desperate need of painting. Is the city responsible for those, or is it an HOA thing that I live in?
Chances are, and we can look into it, I think somebody had those streetlights, even though they're city lights, are managed and operated by Duke Energy, which, again, going back to questions we had about lighting in Indian Heights and other neighborhoods and such, more than likely they are the responsibility or jurisdiction, if you will, of Duke Energy. And so we would need to contact Duke and kind of put in a repair order or request. Even though the lights are working, part of the repair would be maintenance as well, which could be painting. So we'll look into that particular area and again, try to work with Duke to get things tidied up, because it's with the thousands of street lights around the community, some regular overhead and some ornamental, like are probably in that housing edition. They do get weathered through the years, so we'll look into it.
Okay. Next question is from, make sure. Yeah. Dawn on Facebook. Hey. What are your ideas to improve the city in its issues of affordable housing, crime, and schools? Are you applying for and utilizing all grants that could possibly be available to us in these areas? It seems the main priority has only been for downtown. Dawn on Facebook.
Yeah. So, I mean, working with the developers, I mean, we just talked about there's 4 or 5 existing development projects under construction, a lot of them site clearing, but so we're working toward that again to increase the available housing, especially the affordability of that housing as well. Grants, depending on what it is and what it involves. We do have development specialists on the 3rd floor that work with organizations, whether they're nonprofit or not, that search for grant opportunities, or we work with them on our revolving loan program that the city offers. I mean, so finding different ways with that, or assisting those that may be pursuing grants. Now, if it's the schools or for crime, I know our police department and fire departments are constantly looking for grants within their respective professional organizations and such, and have found ways to kind of support and subsidize some of the costs in there. Schools and nonprofits are kind of doing the same thing, and the city assists them as we can, or as they request, if and when we have that opportunity to do so. So, yeah, it just depends on the service, depends on the organization, but I know that citywide grant opportunities for municipalities typically are for police and fire, or street development.
Got it.
So, absolutely.
Next question is from Charles, our friend Charles on Facebook. Can you ask the mayor to do something about the traffic flow on Union during school pickup and drop off? Everyone blocks the north lane all the way to King's Heating and Cooling. We need another lane or someone directing traffic. He says, my phone is stuck on the big letters. I'm not yelling. God bless, Charles. It was in all caps.
Yeah. So, couple areas. I mean, and that's a challenge that Kokomo School Corporation, deals with where they have pickup and drop off, and the number of students that aren't on the buses and such. I know he's talking about the pickup and drop off along Union for Central Middle School. There's concerns with cars backing up and lining up along Lincoln Road for Maple Crest and Dixon Road, or I'm sorry, Jefferson for Wallace School as well. I mean, so there's those things that have been brought up to Kokomo School Corporation's attention as well, and we try to work with them. There's not enough space in some of those areas to create more, I guess, areas for folks to get off of those main roads in order to do that, but we realize that it is a concern. Unfortunately, it's only 20 to 30 minutes, at drop off and pick up. So yeah, I mean, we're continuing to work with Kokomo as best we can to try to find some other solution.
Okay. Next question is from Dawn on Facebook. Can a four-way stop be put in at South J in Virginia? It is a straight shot from the light at Markland, and traffic is rather dangerous, especially considering how people park. Four-way at J in Virginia. Do you know where that's at?
Yes.
Okay.
So we would put that request to the engineering department for the traffic commission to consider. And what they would then do is basically run traffic counts at that intersection, look at incidents of accidents, I mean, to see if it would warrant either a four-way. I mean, not assuming, I'm pretty confident that it's at least a two-way stop in one direction. And it sounds like if J is the straight shot from Markland, then it's a two-way stop in the east and west direction, that north and south, that the way J runs, that it's that's not the stop signs there. So so that would be a request made to the engineering department to look again at traffic counts, incidents of accidents, and then decide if a four-way stop versus two-way stop is warranted.
Gotcha. Jordan on live chat says, I think all the schools in Cone Palace need to get together to figure out this line and traffic issues.
Hopefully Cone Palace is getting close to finally getting that. I mean, because that's something, again, it's acquisition of additional ground to get traffic off of the main drag. And so if there were areas in and around the schools that could be a possibility, or the school somehow look at moving the pickup or drop-off locations, then I know that they would. But, I mean, the way they're positioned, I'm sure that they've looked at and weighed every option, but we'll continue to work with them to see.
Got it. Eddie on Facebook, how about address the road issues? The issues charging us more a year for trash when we pay already. Eddie's not happy about the roads or the trash fee.
Well, and that's part of what the trash fee will allow to happen. I mean, that will, again, relieve some of the burden on the street maintenance and refuse department by having that trash fee dedicated to the trash service and payrolls primarily for that, which then frees up money going into that in the general budget, which can then be allocated toward additional street maintenance type of items, because we're again doing the best that they can, working within the resources that they have, both equipment and manpower, every year, as well as the availability and timing, both of the asphalt when it's available and Mother Nature when weather permits. So, get into the ones they can.
Let's give a shout out to our friends over at Azumi. Are you craving high quality Japanese cuisine that will create lasting memories for your taste buds? That actually sounds really good. I've had sushi in a minute. Get $5 off your bill when you spend $25 at Azumi Japanese Cuisine. Got a big friend group going? Bring them in and get $10 off when you spend $50. You get a discount and a full belly. Call that a win-win. From ramen to sushi, Azumi has some of the best to offer here in Kokomo, and you certainly can't forget to get a sweet bubble tea while you're here. Next time you're craving Japanese food, make sure to come to Azumi Japanese Cuisine. You will not regret it. Shout out to Azumi over near Planet Fitness. And did we ever... What's that plaza? Does it have a name?
It does, and I always forget it.
I need to do my job and look that up. That's fine. I'll do that. But shout out to Azumi. Yeah. Okay, next question is from Eric on Facebook. Can we add some sort of shading to the equipment at the parks over the slides, especially at Jackson Morrow Park? The kids' slides are in direct sunlight from 10 a.m. to around 6 to 7 p.m. I hate to see little ones get burnt going down the slides just trying to have fun. Eric, looking out for the kids on Facebook.
For the kids. Yep, we can look at that as we make improvements to the parks. I know that the park equipment there at Jackson Morrow just got replaced or installed, and so the working within the budget that Mr. Rose sets for playground equipment and such, oftentimes does not include certain shelter areas. It is unfortunate that Jackson Morrow doesn't have a lot of natural trees to provide natural shading and such, and so definitely something we can look into as we plan and budget for all of our parks, all 30 some of them.
Gotcha. Tiffany on Facebook with a economic development idea.
Ooh, good.
Quite frankly, the GM building could be a huge indoor sports complex easily. Indoor soccer, indoor baseball, ice skating, dance performance center, curtain call performance center. Still wonder why that building just sits there. Tiffany on Facebook.
Because GM still has plans for it. So that if the city owned it, it'd be easy to consider a lot of that stuff. There has been some interest from companies in regards to redeveloping that site for any type of use, but primarily, for industrial or commercial type of use. But that would be too. I know there's. Again, as part of last year's UAW negotiations, there was a promise made or a commitment by GM to keep the staffing, at the GM facility around 200 or 250, and they're slowly, ramping back up because we're seeing a little bit of flutter of activity. But ultimately, GM and UAW would have the say over how that site gets redeveloped, and how, the city, we can suggest and propose and offer as much as we want and bring other investors in, but ultimately, because it's privately owned, I guess you could say publicly as well, because they have shares, but because it's owned by GM and has interest with UAW, there's only so much that can be considered for repurpose or reuse of that facility, unfortunately.
Got it. Let me scroll up here. Thank you guys for the live chat questions. I'm pulling those over, so thanks for those. Appreciate it. Caleb on Facebook. Yes. Hi, I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer genuine questions from the community.
Awesome.
That's what we do. I am a local hip hop artist who is looking for venues for upcoming events to perform at. I performed in several places around town, but hip hop has its own stigmas behind it, something I'm trying to change. What are some places you would recommend for me to reach out? Caleb on Facebook.
Ryan Hall, they're on the north side of downtown, is a great newish facility and venue for private events like that, or even smaller events as you're getting started. I know that they're currently in the middle of the comedian challenge, but Gary Reinberger there at Ryan Hall would be a good source to contact. A lot of there's probably a handful of bars that still offer DJing and dancing, and in some of those, you probably wouldn't hurt to reach out to some of those establishments that offer those, and just to again get started and get the name out there. I know that some of the chamber events are like First Friday and such, allow folks to offer various things. They usually or have occasionally used the city's showmobile and allow different acts to rotate in and out and do the Carver Center summer celebration that they've brought back to the square. Typically the weekend in and around Juneteenth would be good. So you could contact the Carver Center to be a part of that celebration. Few opportunities.
Gotcha. Seth on Facebook is once again asking kind of about once he's asking if you've listened to the new metal band he requested last week. Okay. And then also he's asking once again about the trash tax.
Okay.
We talked about, will there be any other ideas for raising revenue to be considered? We would talk through that.
Yep. We did.
There also is talking about how the trash tax is a result of budget cuts due to SB1. But in that case, why was the trash tax originally proposed before SB1 was? So we'll start there, I guess, just to clear that up.
Yeah. So again, the trash fee, trash tax. Folks say, well, call it a fee. It's still a tax. Yes, it's money being collected going into the general budget. It was proposed last fall, knowing that we were coming into contract negotiations this year with our AFSCME employees, and knowing that they were more than likely going to be asking for a more substantial raise than had been given in the past. And so we wanted to plan ahead for that. Also wanted to start that equipment rotation within the street maintenance and refuse department as well. And so that was part of the reason, why it was proposed last year to get it in place for 26. But yeah, the reason it's coming now is not due to budget cuts from SB1. I mean, it's the revenue shortfalls that SB1 will cause to municipalities
Just kind of making it even worse.
May force us to consider budget cuts, whether it's personnel or payroll or equipment. So that's kind of the quick history of that. Did I cover everything?
I think so, yeah. And then also he said, final thought, we at Operation Blue Horizon have invited you to several of our events, our community cleanup, our fundraisers and donation drives for local shelters, but we have yet to see you at any of them. We have a fundraising event coming up next month for the Humane Society. Can we expect you to come to show your support, or will it always be a no-go? South on Facebook.
It's never always a no-go. As I mentioned, I was in Chicago over the weekend, so I didn't attend the firefighter stair climb fundraising event as well. There were two that he mentioned in there that I was aware of. I mean, it comes down to scheduling and
sure,
availability and such. I mean, I try to hit as many as I can, but I don't hit every. I mean, I'm sorry that I missed those two, but there are number of events, fundraising events that I'm unable to get to because of family obligations, because of scheduling conflicts, whatever it may be. So I don't want them to take that, personally. And if there's one coming up to support the Humane Society, again, if schedule permits, chances are I'll be there. So
Eddie on Facebook wants to know, why are you so greedy and you're screwing over the people for extra money for trash that we already pay for, and half the time they don't even do the job? Eddie on Facebook.
Well, one, I'm not greedy, and contrary to what people say, I'm not collecting this trash fee and lining my pockets. And
I mean, 20% of it goes to you, right? No.
Yeah.
I want to be clear, Internet. If that gets clipped, that was a complete joke. Play the whole clip.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the trash fee is going to support. I mean, so he says we're already paid for it. I mean, there was numbers put out at the last council meeting that, on the average, the 1% homestead, which are primary residents, collectively, on the average, pay, we'll say $2, in their overall property tax bill towards trash service. It costs the city a little over $17. So we've been, if you will, covering, the trash service costs by what we're collecting, in property tax and not paying towards other departments. And so this goes to help support the level of services that are provided. Again, we talked about, limbs and leaves, not state mandated, not required, but do it for free, whether folks need it or not. Curbside recycling, other communities paying for that because it costs a little more, to tip that stuff. I mean, so there's a level of service that the people have come to expect that we want to continue to provide, but need the additional tax revenue that we anticipate not receiving from the effects of SB1 in order to do that. So it's not a greed thing. I mean, we're just trying to find ways to continue to provide the level of services that people expect and feel they deserve.
Got it. Next few questions are from Annalise on Facebook. What is your favorite project that you've worked on while mayor? And also, what is your personal favorite park or outdoor space in Kokomo?
Favorite project, seeing the hotel and conference center finally come to fruition is probably one of my favorites. I mean, just knowing that that's been on the books for a number of years to finally make that happen. It's fun seeing that come all around. It's a great asset to our community, great addition to the downtown. Finally providing a home for our Automotive Heritage Museum as well. I mean, so having that all finally come together, has probably been my most favorite and most rewarding. Favorite park space, I know they don't think of it as that, but Municipal Stadium, love whether it's a game or an event or ice skating, the Frozen Sandlot. That's probably one of my favorite park spaces in the city.
Got it. Next question is from Bethany on Facebook. Why weren't all the flags in town put at half staff as ordered by the President of the United States? Bethany on Facebook.
Not sure. I'd have to find out. I would assume that a lot of those are probably, privately owned businesses or such. I mean, I think all of the city buildings and county buildings had theirs down. I know that the stadium, we brought that down Saturday during the event. So as for those that still have them at full mast, you have to check with them. Don't know. I mean, just because they're ordered down at half mast, I don't think that folks can be fined or penalized for not bringing them down. It just, they're not agreeing with the reasons that they're being asked to bring them down, I guess. I don't know. Can't answer that for those that are still at full mast.
Question from Howard on Facebook. Hey. Why don't you ask the mayor some tough questions?
Ooh.
Well, because you don't ask them, Howard. How this show works is we ask the questions that people submit.
I think some of these are kind of tough, but
yeah.
Try to answer all of them, but yeah.
It's a user submitted show. All right, let's get into the live chat questions that were coming in. First one is from NJ on live chat. When it comes to paving roads, does it go to the cheapest bidder, or is there a set company? I only ask due to South Cortland was paved less than a year ago, and they've already patched it and had to fix it. Is this shoddy workmanship, cheap materials, or is the weather really that bad on roads? It costs tax dollars no matter what, so it is a concern.
Yeah, a lot of the smaller paving jobs and such are done in-house. I mean, so it's our local street department. Some of the larger, more involved ones that involve larger stretches or more lanes and such typically are contracted out, and more times than not, if not all the time, E&B Paving here that has a facility locally ends up being the only bidder for a lot of those when they can work it in. But most of the time it's our street department, and sometimes when it's only been a couple years, a lot of it, again, could be due to traffic counts, could be due to, again, the weather causing things, if there's impurities or gaps or creases in the pavement that may open up to where if water gets in and out and expands. Could be utility work that ends up being done. We've unfortunately would patch something and then there's a water main break, or there's some other utility work that may need to be done that they go in and cut and would need to repair, and so sometimes that comes into play. But no, more times than not, unless it's something larger and more lane miles, it's our local street department that does that.
Got it. Jim on live chat. Why does the city allow people to park trailers on the streets in Indian Heights? It's very unsafe. Drivers having to go into oncoming traffic. Jim on live chat.
Depending on the trailers, I'm assuming it's like a pole behind either that you haul a lawnmower or something on, or if it's a motorhome or something. I mean, if there's on-street parking that's permitted, that's the reason why. If they're there for an extended period of time and hasn't been moved or aren't plated correctly, they can call code enforcement and have it checked out. But unfortunately, because a lot of areas allow or permit on-street parking on one or both sides of a street, I mean, they're allowed to do it.
Okay. Kim or Kimberly on live chat. Is there a city ordinance about leaving your trash can on the street after pickup until the next week? Also, when putting your can out, isn't it supposed to be just off the street and into the grass? That's what we were told years ago when we got those cans. This caused some conversation in the live chat too. People very passionate about trash can removal.
Yeah. And so, unfortunately, and I say this unfortunately, that there is an ordinance in place that the cans are supposed to be, or the totes are supposed to be removed. I think either 24 or 48 hours. I forget the actual time frame.
I think it was 24 hours because this has been talked about before.
It comes down to an enforcement thing and manpower. I mean, going around and oftentimes because there aren't numbers or serial numbers or address numbers on totes and such, especially in alleyways or in areas where folks are asked to take their totes across the street from them. There's not a way to determine which tote belongs to which address. We've talked about that again. Another way to try to beautify our city by enforcing that, but it would probably take additional manpower to go around and tag and try to locate those owners of the totes and such. And so there just hasn't been a concerted effort for that. Again, unfortunately, but there is something in place encouraging folks, asking folks, or requiring folks to bring their totes back up to their homes as soon as possible after collection. There's just not been a whole lot of enforcement with it. Again, not knowing all the time who the tote would actually belong to.
Got it.
So.
Next question is from Emily on live chat. Is the show Parks and Rec anything like actual government work? P.S. Drew, I like your new profile picture. Thanks, Emily.
Nice. Not all of it.
Does City Hall have a Ron Swanson? And why is it Steve Geiselman?
It's not Steve Geiselman. We have someone somewhat close to a Ron Swanson.
I want to meet him. Can they be on the show someday? Would they do it?
He wouldn't do it.
No. Okay, got
it. But no, I mean, it's not as slapstick as they have, and meetings are not conducted. That definitely pokes light at a local government department, but we do try to find ways, though, to keep things light and enjoyable with what we have to work with at times. So.
Got it.
Love that show.
Yeah. Next question is from Lindsay on live chat. It's a longer one. Is there any way the city of Kokomo or the Kokomo Post through its platform could create an original post highlighting volunteer opportunities across the community? This could help places and organizations currently in need of help, as well as initiatives that aim to improve and support Kokomo. A lot of public conversation often centers around critique of community leaders, sometimes without the same level of effort being directed towards solutions. Preach. By providing, that was my additive, by providing a clear, accessible channel for volunteer opportunities, community members who are passionate about change could more easily align their energy, ideas, and talents with organizations that need support. It could be a powerful way to redirect dialogue into action and help create some movement. Last week, or maybe the week before, I was actually grossed out by some of the disrespectful comments made to a mayor who goes live every week to answer questions. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you and Drew on my Mondays. Lindsay on live chat. I will say we do have another show here on the Kokomo Post, partnered with Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union, called The Ripple Effect. And it is a weekly podcast we do on the Kokomo Post where we actually bring on either a different nonprofit every week or a community organization that does good. I know they've had like some churches on in the past. They've had Relay for Life was recently on the podcast. So there are a lot of organizations like that in Kokomo that need that support. So Lindsay, maybe tune into that podcast. It's a great show. Yeah. Jessica from Solidarity hosts that podcast here on the Kokomo Post, and it's a great resource.
But that would be a good additional resource to have. I'm trying to think if our local United Way has anything on that, but that United Way could be a good source. Unfortunately, and ironically, Jessica is the current president of the United Way board. So that could be something that could be placed on the United Way or even on the city's website or one of the chamber or Convention Visitors Bureau sites, because I know there's a community calendar that folks and organizations can put their upcoming events, whether they're fundraisers and other events, on the calendar. So that there could be something similar that could say, volunteer opportunities and have a calendar and then show events that folks need additional volunteers for, maybe a contact. So that's a great idea, Lindsay.
Well, because when we started the Ripple Effect, which we've done this show for a few years now, I think, and we really realized one of the biggest reasons people do not volunteer is, well, there's two reasons. one, just education on who is out there, who needs volunteers. And then two, how.
Yeah.
Like, how do you volunteer? You just call them up, and like a lot of times that's too broad of like an ask or a task for someone looking to volunteer. So we started that show, properly named The Ripple Effect, because of what happens, can happen after you volunteer, but to help with those two issues. So I highly recommend, we probably should have a playlist on our Facebook page or YouTube. Actually, you could probably YouTube the Kokomo Post Ripple Effect and go through and watch a lot of those episodes. They're great podcasts, great, full of information, and like hear the why behind nonprofits, as well as like what you can do to help out. So there's check that out.
Cool.
Very quick pivot of topics. Jason on live chat. Why do we have to pay for trash to line politicians' pockets?
Well, the trash tax isn't lining politicians' pockets. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, I know people are claiming that. I mean, government is not a for-profit business, and so the revenues we receive from property taxes and various fees and such, I mean, don't create some type of profit margin that we get a certain percentage of if we take in so much tax revenue. I mean,
there's no bonus structure.
The more tax revenue or fee revenue that gets brought in goes towards either the level of services, it goes towards additional equipment, it goes towards additional manpower, it goes towards additional development to bring in more tax revenue. I mean, so for people to think that local government is set up as similar to a for-profit, that if we bring in more tax revenue, that the elected officials or the administration, gets a greater profit margin or something, is just wrong. And so.
Okay. Debbie on live chat. I drove through Highland Park recently and it was depressing. Weeds along the banks of the creek, dead trees, green algae, and it stinks. There's nothing pretty about it. Can you do better for the parks? Debbie on live chat.
A lot of that along the banks is just because we haven't had a lot of water. I mean, when the water levels are low, then what little water is still in the creek sets because it doesn't flow, and a lot of that stuff along the banks we can get to a certain point, but after that it's the DNR, but still a lot of that vegetation is just because they're weeds. Weeds seem to grow more than or quicker than grass does, but yeah, a lot of the unfortunate smell and stuff is just stagnant water because the water levels are so low because we haven't had a whole lot of precipitation. So Parks Department does a great job maintaining the banks to the areas that they can, but just keep praying for a little bit more rain to raise that water level, and that'll keep things flowing and make it more enjoyable.
Got it. Next question is from Michael on live chat. Are there plans for pickleball courts at Jackson Morrow Park?
Not yet. Not at this time. So I know that was part of, because we took up the existing or the skate park that was there before, and that a lot of folks said, they're tearing it up because they're putting in pickleball courts. No pickleball courts are being planned for that area or other areas within Jackson Morrow Park at this time. Doesn't mean that there never will be, but I know that our desire with the area where the skate park was, or remnants of it still is going to be more of a playground or interactive type of area as well, since it's in close proximity to that dog park as well. So no pickleball courts at Jackson Morrow at this time.
Okay. Mark on live chat. I have concerns with the bike/walk trails being degrading due to the amount of large bumps caused by tree roots. I would hate to see the trails to go down the same path as the skate park, insurance liability, and it become too costly to maintain and repair. Markland to Lincoln have the worst bumps. Is there any current funding to make these desperately needed improvements, or is Kokomo still trying to figure out how to pay for this? Love the miles of the trails in Kokomo. Mark on live chat.
Yeah, no, so the trails get budgeted in with the Parks Department the same way. All the parks and playgrounds and such that are under the responsibility of the Parks Department, and again, different tax rate for the Parks Department, different budgets there as well. But no, there part of the maintenance is in there. So if there's areas of concern, please let the parks know. There's a lot of areas that they may not get down at this time, may start getting to if they need to clear leaves off and such as those start to fall. But no, if there are sections that need addressed, those can be maintained and tree roots and such addressed just like streets would be. So we can definitely look at and take care of areas that may have impurities or raised areas or areas of concerns along those, and have those sections replaced, and other trees just help be our eyes to locate those areas. You can call and let us know.
Okay. This is going to be our last call for live questions.
Okay.
If you have any questions, get them in now. We have 3 left, so get them in quick. Cindy on live chat, the property at 489 East, 400 South was purchased with FEMA dollars when the property was in the county. Since then, the city has annexed this area, and it is not being mowed. Why? Cindy on live chat. Is that county or is that in the? Let me look.
It could be city. I mean, if it's down at 400 South, is it east? And so is it on the, because 400 South, I believe that's State Road 26. Depending on which side of 26 it would be. But if it is, I mean, if it's
so it's way south.
If it's still privately
over by
owned,
like the old radio ranch.
Okay.
So is that city?
One side of it, I don't think. I mean, the north side of 26. North side of 26 is city, but I don't think the south side is.
Okay.
But no, it might be. I forget how far it might go down. I'd have to check. Okay. But in any case, if it's privately owned and it has some concerns with high weeds and such, we can contact code enforcement and have them go out and check it out. And if it needs maintained, then we can start that process and notifying to have it addressed. So
got it. Bill on live chat, who is responsible for the frontage road between Eric Chevrolet and Bob Evans? It needs attention. A lot of potholes.
Yep.
Bill on live chat.
The land developer. I mean, so with that being an access road, that's unfortunately not a city maintained road in through there. I know they've done some patchwork in through there, but yeah, that would be the responsibility of the private landowners along that area.
Okay. And the last question today is from Bryce. Why did we take down the skate park? Was there no other location it could gone or could be?
Yeah. When you talked about this, I mean, it
a while back,
wasn't heavily used. It was difficult to skate on, as I've been told. Had a lot of tagging and vandalism to it. Was experiencing some wear and tear, and for the last 4 years or so, we had been advised by insurance to try to address it or get it off the list of assets. So it was a gradual progression towards deciding to take it up. So
gotcha.
But the north side pump track, which I understand is used by a lot of skaters as well, was a great addition to the availability of skateboarding and BMXing, just like the one down at Foster Park. So, and then there's the small one at Studebaker Park. I mean, it's not as high skilled or large as the other two, but there's still a little bit of fun that can be had there.
Got it. Okay. Well, those are the live questions we had today. Thank you, guys.
Right.
Great show.
Yeah.
If you have any questions for next week, leave it in the live chat below, or we do put out a post on Monday mornings where you can comment on that. That's where we get our pre-show questions from. But thank you, guys.
Oh, we may do it on Tuesday.
Oh,
we'll have to look at the schedule.
Yeah, we'll look at our schedules.
I'll be out of town on Monday, but
we'll try to make it work next week. If not, the week afterwards. Yeah. Thanks for this show, Mr. Mayor. Do you have a dad joke for us?
Oh, yeah. So you mentioned we were in Chicago visiting my son, and We were out walking the area and thought we'd stop in a coffee shop, have some coffee, whatever. And
Sure. Great coffee in Chicago.
yeah, not this place we stopped in.
Oh, no.
It was a sad attempt at coffee. I mean, it's just probably the saddest cup of coffee I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, it was called Depresso.
Me a depresso. That's good. I get it because there's a drink called espresso, which is a normal coffee drink, but depression and sad coffee.
Yeah, sad joke.
Coffee usually makes me really happy too.
Right.
So it's got to be really bad coffee to make me depressoed. Okay. Quick shout out before we leave. I know there's still 30 people watching. Guys, first Friday in October is coming up, and it would be silly of me to not talk about our annual Kokomo Post party going on downtown. Make sure to check out the Kokomo Post on Facebook to hear all about it. This year, as always, Bree has planned. I mean, it's absurd what is going to be happening on First Friday. We have the entire block that we are on Walnut Street, and also the next block on the square is shut off, and it's going to be buck wild. So make sure to be staying tuned to our Facebook page, our website, and all the content coming out about then. First Friday is going to be bonkers as always. Great. So thank you guys for watching this show. Have any questions for next week? Like I said, leave them in the chat below. We'll make sure we go back and get them. Thanks for producer Parker for making that happen. And if not, anything else, we'll see you next time.
All right. See you, Kokomo.